Good morning. So I'm re-recording this because I had a technical glitch with Zoom when we were live, sadly. So it recorded half of it, then it all bombed out. So apologies for those people that gave up their time to come to the webinar. I am now re-recording it so you can watch it in your own time. Okay, let's crack on. Let me share my screen. There we go. Okay, so today is about once somebody becomes an inquiry to your business, how are we then going to get more revenue from them? So I'm going to spend a little bit of time on a little bit of the elements of Google Ads, looking at how that can be improved, and then also structuring the session today by looking at increasing the leads and the sales by improving your customer journey. Now, thank you very much for giving up your time. Clearly, what you're here today is to improve your business, to get more sales. So I'm curious if you can have a little think. You can't put it in the chat, but have a think. You know, what was it that was frustrating you? What was going through your mind when you looked at the title of this presentation to think, right, I want to come along and I really want to improve things? Are you struggling with getting more from your Google Ads spend? Or are you thinking, well, hold on, I'm not sure that we're actually creating the sales from that Google Ads spend? So what is it that you are thinking that you would like to learn from today? And just kind of put that into your mind. And as we go through today's session, at the end, you'll find a way to be able to get in contact with us. You can probably zip straight to the end if you choose. However, we're here to help you. So if once you've watched this through, there's any questions, any queries that you've got, give me a shout and we will help you and guide you, because this is what we do day in, day out. Now I'm just going to pose this question to you. What if you could double your sales in the next 30 to 90 days? Well, that is a possibility. And it's something that you should think about for your business with regards to areas in your Google Ads campaign, and you can look at this at your marketing as well, but areas that could almost like columns of the marketing that could be improved. So if we can tweak things along the way, there is no reason that you can't achieve this particular outcome. I know it's quite a bold statement. So I'm going to play with some figures to show you, to share how it just could be possible for your business. Firstly, let's have a look at an increase across those particular areas. So the first bit is about website traffic. So let's say, for argument's sake, that you have 500 people that come to your website per month. Okay. Now let's assume that some of the things that I talk about in Google Ads, we're able to improve that and we can get more for potentially the same amount of spend. So let's say we can increase that 25%. So we go from 500 to 625. So we're just doing tweaks within the campaigns. And then let's say from that traffic, the people that come to your website, we are able to get more of those people to take action and to get in contact with you and to become a lead. So we improve that by 25%. So let's say we had what we call a conversion rate of 10%, and we're able to increase that to 12.5%. Looking at the numbers, we're going from 50 to then 78 inquiries. So those inquiries could be somebody that fills out the form for a quote request, or phone you up, or perhaps on live chat and have a chat with you. But these are inbound inquiries, not the sale, but it's the inbound inquiries to you. So by tweaking that from 10% to 12.5%, then we're going from 50 to 78. Great. We get more for same amount of ad spend. The next stage, so they've become an inquiry for you. What is then the sales rate, or the conversion rate from the sales inquiry, that person calling you, to then becoming a customer? Let's estimate a 20% conversion rate of those people that come through and inquire with you. So out of that original amount of traffic, you've then got 10 sales. Now we're going to change that from 20% to 25%, that 25% increase. And so we've gone from the original 10 sales to 20 sales. So by making these marginal gains, we have then a far better outcome for our business. So the sales initially was £10,000. Let's say if you've got an average order value of 1,000, so £10,000 sales to nearly £20,000 sales. That is from the same amount of ad spend, but improving things along the way. So it is possible. Let's have a look in kind of more simple terms, looking at it visually from a different perspective. This is a funnel. When we're doing marketing, we're funneling people into your business. Get more in at the top, and we're trying to get them down to the sale is at the bottom. So number one, we're going to get more visitors to your website at the top. Then number two, we're going to get them to do something, get more people to do something. So let's say moving from 10% to 15%. Then once they've done something, so they've inquired or they've filled out the form, we're then going to encourage that person to engage with you by improving the content, by improving the contact, by increasing the number of contact, by being better in the way that we contact them. And I'm not talking about being sort of very direct and really selly. There's other ways of doing it, but we can convert more of those sales inquiries into being a sale. Today, then, what we're going to do is we're going to look at how can we get more traffic to the website? How can we then convert more leads onto your sort of inbound leads for you from that traffic? And then lastly, how can we create more sales from these inquiries? Hopefully that's good news and sounds exciting for you. I just wanted to show you in that first piece about how you can increase the traffic. This is a client we've just recently taken on, and you can see there the blue is the cost per lead. Now when we took it over towards the back end of last year, the cost per lead was really high, and the number of leads that they were getting was relatively low, and it was really diminishing. So we got to work in their account, we identified lots of things that they weren't quite doing right, and you can see quite quickly it just took a real increase, and the client was very happy. So you can see there that there's quite a lot of things that can happen quite quickly for the results by making these changes. Let's have a look at your website. So this portion of the presentation is about how we can get more people to become an inquiry with you. And so by looking at the website, I put in their score, which is very relevant because we are now in the finals. We just beat Netherlands yesterday. So with website score, we are thinking about how can we get more people once they hit your website or your landing page. We call it a landing page, which is the page on your website that people hit when they click from your ad onto your website. So once they come onto here, it needs to be nippy. It needs to have a good speed. Now, you might not feel that the speed is slow, but you probably experienced where you've clicked on something, you've come to the website, and it's taken just a couple of seconds to load. Now that tanks your conversion rate. So we need to get a good speed. And the reason is twofold. Firstly, if I'm looking and I get to the page and it takes a couple of seconds to load, I've already clicked back. I just think, gosh, this isn't great. And I go back to Google and I'm going to do my search again. So that's the first thing, is the customer experience. The second thing is we have to keep Google happy. Google wants to provide its customers, like you do, a great service. So if it is presenting its customer, once it's clicked on the search, something that is slow, well, Google's going to downgrade you. It's going to penalize you for that. So the cost per click will increase. We need to have a clear call to action. Now, the call to action is the action step that you want somebody to take when they come onto your website. So that would be phone Sally today on blah, 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 or click here for a quote request. Those sorts of things. It's a call to action. It's something you want somebody to do. So make sure that that is within the top fold of your page or your website. When I say the top fold, I mean I don't want people to be scrolling down, because often there's a high percentage of people that will not scroll down. So we need to get that key information in the top of the page. So a strong call to action, either a phone number or getting them to fill out the form. You need to have some kind of offer. So when somebody's searching, they will be looking at what you have in your ads, they will be looking at what your competitors have in their ads, and yours needs to be more compelling than other local competitors. It could be price, it could be the years that you've been in business, it could be your location, it could be your specialist skill set that you have for removals, whatever your kind of offer is. But your offer doesn't necessarily need to be money off. It just needs to be something that is compelling and clear for them to think, this is a better company for me to choose how to spend my money. We also need to ensure that this page is relevant. People like to kind of feel that they're in the right place. They want to feel that they're at home. So relevancy is key. In removals case, this needs to be the location, perhaps. So leading removals company in Hemel Hempstead, for example. So the location is the relevancy here, and also visually making it relevant. So it could be, sounds really boring, but it could be you've got a picture of your removals van with your branding on there. So then they go, oh yeah, I remember seeing that removals company. And also the fact that they very quickly see the removals van, they go, ah, okay, this is removals, I'm in the right place. So it feels relevant, they're going to stick around, have a look further. The last point there, endorsement, is that human nature and psychology is we want to know that somebody else has been before us and they have had a good experience, and I'm not going to make a wrong decision here. What adds value in this regard is having it could be one line from somebody, just get a client, a genuine client, to have a quote that says, you know, they were super reliable. They turned up when they said they were going to be. They were really friendly and helpful, and nothing got broken. Just literally just a one line. It needs to also have either the picture of the person or the name of the person potentially, but so it looks genuine and real. But the purpose of the endorsement is to show that somebody else has been before them, and also the purpose is to overcome any initial objections that they may have. And that's why I gave the example of they turned up when they said they were going to, because one of the key things with removals is they think, oh gosh, you know, on the day, are they going to turn up? So these things will help conversions. So if people see these things on the top fold of your page, they will be more likely to then take action. So how can we speed up the website? So what we need to do is put it through a page speed. You can see that there. I can't actually put it in the chat, but you'll be able to see there, or you can just Google page speed Google and you'll come up with this page. So on that page, pop in your domain of your website, so your website address, and it will then give you greens, yellows and reds to indicate what your performance is like. If it's in the red, you've got room for improvement. This has got to be looked into in a little bit more depth. Orange, you're kind of okay. And green, you're keeping Google happy. Majority of the time, we see reds and we don't often see greens. So have a look at it for your website. It will help you get a lower cost per click, and it will help you get more conversions, because the slower your website, the slower the lower your conversion rate is. 3 areas here of the elements to look at to improve. So what can I do? These are the things that can be done to improve your page speed. Number 1, don't have massive images. And what I mean by that is the file size, not the physical picture. So make sure that the file size of the image that you have on the website is small and doesn't ask too much of the page when it's being loaded. Second element is when we're developing a website over time, you get more scripts running in the background of your page. So it could be that you wanted to have some kind of script that does something. So if you've got some unnecessary ones, they can kind of bulk out the website. So take those off. You can have your web developer, have a look at that. And thirdly is about having good quality hosting. It does pay dividends to make sure that you have this so that it speeds up the website and it loads much quicker. So these things will help your conversion rate. So how about yours? I've put in here a few things that you should go have a look at for your website. So the elements that we talked about in the score a couple of slides ago, make sure that these things are above the fold. You've probably got them on the site somewhere, but ensure that they are above the fold because people don't tend to scroll down. A clear call to action, a good offer, the relevancy, endorsements, make sure that you have these on the top fold. Testimonials we've talked about. You can have lengthy testimonials should you wish that go into a lot more depth and detail. People don't tend to read them, so put them towards the bottom end of that page in case people do scroll down. Have a clear call to action, CTA. So that could be the phone number, ensuring that the phone number is prominent. Don't have it tucked right at the bottom of your page. Have it front and center. When I say front and center, that sounds very American. Actually, it needs to be top left, top right or top left, but very visible. Also make sure that it's clickable, so somebody can look at it and click on it, on their phone, and they can dial it straight away. Sometimes it is just an image. So your phone number, the form that you want somebody to fill out, and potentially if you have live chat on there. So is it clear? Is it really clear and compelling? If you could do the sort of the child test. You could give it to a youngster, 6 years old, something, and give them the page and say, look, what does this site do? What is it? What is this about? And they'll look at it and go, oh, it's removals van. Okay, it's to do with removals, and it's got a really clear headline: Harpendon's, removals company. So ensure that for everybody it's very clear. Not that a 6-year-old is going to go and get removals from you, but it's sort of a litmus test to see that it is clear, and instantly people can tell that they are in the right place. Phone numbers clickable that we talked about. Don't make it overly complex. It is about making it really easy to serve this person that's come to your website. You've invested money in getting them there. So now what we want to do is make sure that it is going to, achieve the outcome. Thumb friendly, we talked about that, and hurdles to get details. Do you ask too much? We're often asked, how many things should we ask for on the form? Name, mobile phone number, email address. Just ask for those 3 things. Should you wish you want to invite more information, when's your moving date, where are you moving from, how much stuff have you got to move, etc. That's great. Ask those questions after you've got that information, the critical information for you to engage with that lead. So ideally you want to have sort of 2 forms, the first one, and then the second one you ask for more information. Case study. What I wanted to share with you this morning is about the landing page. So an example here, this is a client where we were using their first page and it wasn't converting so well. We created a more compelling landing page that you'll see there on the right. So the headline knows that you're in the right place, Bordon being in the town. Bullet points as to why they are better or cheaper or faster, more compelling than other local competitors. A clear call to action is what you want them to do, request a quote, and the telephone number. So there's always improvements that can be made, but this we tested for the client, and the conversion rate went up massively, the cost per lead came down massively, so it really made a difference between what they had previously and what they have now. Tracking. This is where we get to see the data. Google is very much data driven, so ensure that you do have the right kind of tracking set up, because it's all very well improving these things, but unless you can see the data, you don't actually know whether it's working or not. You get a feeling because the phone might be ringing more, but when you're managing the Google Ads account, you can't force the campaign to go get more of what's working if you don't have the tracking set up correctly. So the tracking that I would recommend you need to have set up is phone call tracking. So somebody, once they click on the ad and come to your website, they are captured as a conversion. Second point is somebody fills out a quote request, or thirdly, the live chat. So these active steps need to be tracked as a physical thing in your Google Ads account. So ensure that you have that done. And if you've got any questions on that, because like 95% of the time when we're auditing and reviewing the performance of somebody's account new to us, this is one of the fundamental things they're getting wrong, because it allows you not to be able to optimize the Google Ads results as you should do. For our clients, this is what we provide, a very simple dashboard that shows how many inquiries they've got, what the cost per inquiry is, inquiry being conversion. So quite quickly you can see on the dashboard, and also what we provide is access to the call tracking. So we provide call tracking for our clients, whereby anyone that comes from Google Ads and calls our client, we don't physically listen into the phone call, we capture that phone call, we record the call so that the client can then use it for call handling training. But what we are interested in, well, that's the keyword. We want to know what somebody typed in to make the phone ring. So it gives us this value and depth of data that we then pour more of that into Google Ads and get more phone calls coming through, which is hugely helpful. To give you a quick example here, a client where they had some tracking in there, but they weren't really doing it to the full degree. Also, there was some of the keywords that weren't quite right and the targeting needed to be improved. So there was a number of different things that we did. But in this example, the main thing was around tracking. So having put the correct tracking meant that we could see what's working and get more inquiries for this particular client who's actually in storage. And we, within 2 weeks, the storage unit was full. And so great outcomes for this client. So I just kind of posed the question to you that, what are you tracking to understand whether you are having success with your Google Ads or indeed you're not? It needs to be tracked so that you can see how many inquiries you have coming through. And then if you've got the complexity and you can do this, we then want to track how many sales you generated out of your Google Ads. But your Google Ads is not going to deliver you sales. It's going to bring you inquiries and sales leads. Then the next part is about how we need to ensure that we get more sales out of it. So in this sort of third section of this, this webinar is about how can we increase the sales? Well, it's follow-up. We can't just assume that when they inquire that first time that they're going to become a customer. Now, speaking to some removals companies, they feel, I don't want to be too harsh, and I don't want to follow up, and I don't want to become a nuisance. Well, we don't really want to be too sort of British about this. They have come to us because they have a need. They have a need that might be straight away, or it might be in 6, 9, 12, perhaps even 18 months away. They are in the process of selling their house, and within all the intents and purposes, it's going to go through, but actually it falls through and they don't move for another 18 months. Now, if you give up on these leads, they will go somewhere else because they'll forget about you. So it is our job to look after them. And that means that we need to keep in contact with them. And it's the way that we do it that's going to allow them to think, yeah, this is a great company that's careful, that cares about me. It's not about hounding for that sale. Please don't think that it's about hounding for the sale. Because you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So we need to ensure that we're doing everything we can to allow the horse to drink and to work with us. So just have a little think for your own business. On a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5, how do you feel that your follow-up is right now? Do you leave it at number 1, where you potentially have that inquiry come through, they say, yes, thanks for the price, and I'll think about it? Are we in that level? Or are we at number 5, where we do everything we can to continually keep in contact, look after, nurture that customer so that we have a high conversion rate, and at some point that client is more likely to become a customer? Where do you sit in there? So I wanted to give you some lead follow-up strategies that may be helpful to understand. So firstly, timing matters. It's what we call speed to lead. We need to, if somebody fills out the form, if I fill out the form now, it lands on your inbox, you need to be, or somebody in your team needs to be on the phone and replying to that person as well straight away. Because if you get there first, they're more likely to listen to you and engage with you than if you do it, say, an hour later when they've already had somebody else come back to them, because they will go onto your website and fill out your form, and they're likely to go do another one and possibly another one. 2 or 3 is what people will speak to. So you need to get on this, and you need to get on this fast, because the faster you do it and with the right methodology, you've got a really strong chance of success with this client. Personalize the communications. So when you're speaking to somebody, build up a rapport, understand why they're moving, understand you know, where they're moving from, and just build up that relationship, and don't make it very generic. So that's when you're speaking to somebody, but also when you send out the email, then you can make that email a little bit more personal, ensure that it's got a name. If you can put the town name in there as well, that's really helpful. So it just feels very, very considered to that particular person. We need to think also, if you are sending out emails, which I highly encourage you to do once somebody fills out the form, email them regularly. There's a sort of a methodology where you can send on day 1, on day 3. It's called the Fibonacci technique. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and then sort of doubling up from there. So you slowly increase the distance between those emails, but we are continually saying hello in a certain way. On the follow-up, you have a clear call to action. Ensure that we are offering them what needs to happen next, because people need to be guided. They don't know what they need to be doing next. So the clear call to action could be, you know, get in contact and we'll come out and give you a personalized quote on site. That's sort of at your home. So ensure that we put that call to action in the communication. Also build rapport. This is mainly on the phone, but just building up that connection. It's a very personal thing. You will be going into their new home or their old home, and you know, they need to have trust and know that they can rely on you. So building up rapport is important too. Clear call to action, we talked about there. Some of these things you can actually automate. You can use systems that will take a lot of this legwork out for you. And I won't go into that today, but that is something that you can use. Also, you could use a little bit of AI to use ChatGPT. I'm sure you've come across it. And this is something that you can say, look, create me a lead follow-up campaign that I can send out to new inquiries for my removals business. So these are some strategies I really highly consider for you. And you know, don't give up at the first hurdle where somebody rings up and they ask you, you know, give me the price, what's it going to cost? We need to build up that relationship. They're not going to buy from that first contact. So it's up to us to look after them. Imagine it's a family friend. Imagine it's, you know, somebody that you really care about and you want to look after them. You know, a new prospect really should be no different. So I just wanted to give you a little example here of mystery shopping. So we did this for self-storage industry with a number of clients, and it was interesting to find out how they dealt with it. So we contacted them to get a quote on using the storage, and we did a handful of 12. How many do you think were replied? Well, there was 11 that replied, and what we then did was we went into a little bit more depth and detail about how many then called to follow up. So what do you think? Well, there wasn't that many. So once we filled out the form, only 25% contacted us with a phone call. What about texting? How many do you think then texted us? Well, 1%. So you don't have to do a huge lot more to beat your competitors and to be more careful and considered and looking after them. And speed of the response is so important. So of of these 11 email responses, 10 responded within 30 minutes and 3 of them gave an instant quote on the screen. So it's slightly different removals, but you can understand that actually people are just doing the bare basics, and doing a little bit more will really set you aside. Also following up, so 70% of those followed up within 1 or 2 times in the first 5 days, and some other stats here that are quite interesting. The other thing that came out is the thank you page. So once somebody fills out the form and hits the thank you page, that is really valuable real estate that you can put a little video on there, you can do something sort of personalized there. So that's really helpful too. So these are the sorts of things that they've done. Now, I just wanted to highlight one of the great company in self-storage called Blue Self Storage. This is a visual of some of the emails that they send out. It's engaging, it's fun, they've got an offer, it's clear, it's compelling. These were the first 3 emails that we got within 5 days, and they phoned up as well. So a lovely little story that you could think about for your business, and by doing this, it will help you get more sales. So I've put up here a number of different things that will help you with your follow-up. So do you have a follow-up procedure for your team to follow? Or maybe it's just one person, or maybe you own the business and it's just you. Do you have a clear methodology of what you do with that person once they inquire? Do you track this and review it? Because just like Google Ads in the Google Ads account, once we see what's working and what's not working, where we can then make changes. So if we're tracking each part of this follow-up, we can say, okay, actually they're falling off here. Why? Oh, it's because the link doesn't work, or for some other reason. But if you've got visibility of these numbers, you will be able to make changes so that it works to your favor. How quickly do you respond to inbound inquiry forms? Now, we've just shown there the speed to lead is so important. So be very interesting if you looked in the last month and said, right, okay, it came in at 10 o'clock in the morning, and get whoever's doing the follow-up, what time did they follow up that phone call or that inbound inquiry? If you can't reach them, what do you do? What's your policy on that? Do you just leave it, or do you do something else? A strategy could be that if you ring somebody and they don't pick up on their mobile, then you can ring them up straight away again, and they look at it and think, gosh, that number's calling me again, it must be urgent, and then you can get to speak to them. So there's little tactics that you can use to adopt to help that. Who manages inquiries? Have you got a chosen person? Do you do anything with text in your follow-up? We looked at that. Only 1% had, 10% had done that. So, you know, if you can incorporate it, that will help you stand out. How many times do you contact someone before you stop following up? Do you use videos in your emails? And do you invest in training to help with this? Do you spend some money putting your team on a little course? Do you invest in improving the marketing on this? So I pose these questions because the outcome and the thought process for these questions will, again, really help to uncover and get you more sales if you go through that process. Now, when we're thinking about this follow-up process, we need to think about the audience, the person that's going through. So this is a picture of my mother, and she could be somebody that's looking for removals. It could be me. It could be a student. So when you're going through this process, appreciate there's different types of people and they like to be communicated in different ways. So appreciate that it's not just a kind of a one size fits all. I wanted to pose, again, a thought process for you to think about, well, what happens in the first 14 days when somebody becomes a sales inquiry, when they come on the website? So I just put this into ChatGPT just to show you a little bit of an example. So this is something you could do. This goes up to 14 days, but you know, the inquiry comes in, you get an email and you call them, then you send them an introductory email about the company, send them a text message, reminder, phone call. You know, there's a number of different things that we can do, but these will all, even if you do just some of these, improve the quantity of contact that you have with that inquiry, because more likely is going to increase your sales. And this is going back to the first slide about where we can look to make marginal gains, marginal percentage increases on these. So I look at Bananarama. Ain't what you do, is the way that you do it that gets results. And so, so think about this for your follow-up. So it's been great to go through this with you today. If you need any help, do get in contact with us. So we have a 30-minute review session with you. It's a lead flow accelerator review where we look at what you're doing online and improve that, the keyword efficiencies in your Google ads, any missed opportunities, but essentially we uncover and tell you exactly where you could be getting more inquiries for your business. So do get in contact. We are, in great partnership with the Removals Association. We're here to help you and support you and guide you. So hopefully today has been very helpful, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.